Good evening. Welcome to another Cyclocast. Tonight, keyboard, keyboard, keyboard. We're going to be talking ArcMap keyboard shortcuts. But for whatever reason, they don't really work that well. So, if you're like me, you use keyboard shortcuts all the time. Photoshop, Eclipse, your text editor, list goes on and on. In Arc, they do have a lot of keyboard shortcuts. However, I pretty much just use Z, X, and C. Fortunately, they do have a way to customize keyboards shortcuts, but as I will demonstrate right now, there is the data frame works against you. So we're going to start an edit session, and I have Control-Shift-D and Control-Shift-E mapped to two tools that I use all the time. Obviously, Z, X, and C go to the zoom, zoom, and pan tool. I've got Control-Shift-E mapped to the editor edit tool, and I've got Control-Shift-D mapped to spatial adjustments attribute transfer tool. Come on, Arc. Let's wait for a second. Here we go. So if we switch back and forth, you'll see that they work. You'll also notice that the map, if you look at table of contents up here, come on, Arc. If I click on the map has focus. There is no indication that the map has focus other than the fact that the other docked windows don't have focus. If I click on the table of contents, you'll see that it has focus. If I do Control-Shift-D here, I get a beep noise. If I do Control-Shift-E, I get another beep noise. So obviously, the keyboard commands that I've chosen only work in the map. Now, from the table of contents, I can hit the Escape key to go to the map. And now, well, my mouse is over here. Now you can see that I can switch between the two. To go back to table of contents, I simply hit F3. It takes a second, but there we go, and I can hit escape again to come back here. Now the frame at the bottom is called the data frame, and I'm not really sure how you can get to it with the keyboard. I haven't used that much. Usually I fiddle around in the map, and then eventually I click down here on certain rows. So I don't use the keyboard very often in the data frame, except I do find myself wanting to leave the data frame to go back to the map without having to click on the map. And that's not always possible. The reason I want to do that is because I want to choose one of my map tools and then I want to do something in the map. So the escape key that we tried for table of contents, escape doesn't do anything. Interestingly, I love this. So I have Control-Shift-D mapped to the attribute transfer tool, but if I use Control-Shift-D when I have a row selected, the row gets deleted. And similarly, if I hit Control-Shift-E, it asks me if I want to save my edits because Control-Shift-E tries to end the edit session. So, how do we get around this? Well, one of the first things I tried was changing the keyboard shortcut of Control-D to Control-A. But Control-A just messes up my data frame column width. So, as an example, Control-Shift-A, assign it, close, close. I'm going to click down here, and let's pretend that I've made all my columns a nice width. Well, if I hit Control-Shift-A, it just resets everything. Thanks a lot. So, what I've figured out is rather than using commands or keyboard shortcuts that the data frame uses, we need to find our own. And I've also found that these keys are a little easier because I can use my thumb on the Alt key, my middle finger on 1, and that's Alt 1. And oops, I've also got the editor tool. I've said the edit tool is mapped to Shift Control E. So let's do Alt 2. That's left thumb and left middle finger. That's a great key. Sign it, close, close. And now we're in the map again. To use these tools, obviously, oh, we are still editing. That's good. Alt 1, Alt 2 switches between the two. I can hit F3 to go to table of contents, hit escape, come back to 1 and 2. If I click down in the data frame now, you'll see that the data frame becomes active, and now I can't get back to the map without clicking in the map. But I don't want to click. I wanted to figure out a way not to click. Well, the only way I can figure out is to use Alt-Tab in Windows, obviously, to switch to another window. And now when I've come back to Arc here, you'll see Alt-1 and Alt-2 switch between the cursors. So if you leave Arc and you come back to Arc, when Arc gets focus, the map gets focus. And that's keyboard, keyboard, keyboard. Thanks for watching.